Hi friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. For today's video, I am going to be taking all of the expenses I filled in my expense tracker in yesterday's expense tracking video. I'm going to be plugging these numbers into my 2-page hybrid budget here, and we're going to see how I'm doing overall for the month of June. This is my weekly budget check-in. If you're interested in seeing it, just keep on watching. Alright friends, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull this worksheet right out of my planner. If you are brand new here and you've never seen this before, this is my 2-page hybrid budget worksheet. It's a 2-page spread that allows you to, at a glance, see absolutely everything you've got going out in the month. For me, it's the month of June. I'm using my Lulling Leaves collection. I have this printable as well as a ton of others in lots of different patterns available on my Etsy shop. So if you are interested in printable worksheets that you can print at home as many times as you want, head on over to my Etsy shop and check it out. I do have a 15% off code in my description box to share with you to make it a little bit more affordable, because I know we're all on a budget. So I'm going to pull out the left page of this worksheet. I'm not really going to be adding anything to the right page. You can see there's a place here for week 4 and 5, which we're not in yet. I did not do anything in sinking funds yet, so I don't need to fill this in. We didn't add anything to savings. We didn't make any debt payments this week, so I don't need this right side page. We're just going to be working with the left today. So we are in week 2. We're going to write in all of our variable expenses for week 2. We're also going to fill in any bills that we paid. Using my expense tracker, I always like to do my budgeting in 2 steps. First, I write out and color code everything that I spent for the week, and then I take all that information and plug it into my worksheet here. So I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see a little bit better what I'm working with. And we're just going to go ahead and talk about a mistake I actually made last week. So before I get into this week, we need to address this. Last week I wrote that we spent $100 in miscellaneous money. That's actually not true. We took our, I'm sorry, I'm saying miscellaneous, but I mean spending. Our spending money. We took our spending money from last week from our May budget. That last week in May, we actually took that cash. We didn't take any cash out of our June budget. So when I wrote this in, I was writing it in wrong. Now, I don't know if I used an erasable pen last week or not. Looks like I did for the remaining category, but not for the spending category, interestingly enough. So I'm gonna grab some white out and fix this. The amount that we spent last week, these totals are going to be wrong as well, so I need to go ahead and fix these. Just a little bit of backtracking. My apologies, you guys. So we spent nothing from spending last week, which meant we still had the full $400. So let me just go ahead and update these totals. So the amount we spent was $388.90, and our remaining then $911.11 plus $250 plus $400 is $1561.11. Okay, just a little bit of bookkeeping there, and now we are back on track. I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote that in, but we're good to go now. So really quickly, let's fill in the bills that we paid this week. On my expense tracker, I always highlight my bills in blue, so you can see we just had one bill that got paid. It was Michigan Gas, and we paid $67. If I look here at Michigan Gas, $67 is what we budgeted as well, so we are on track there. So I just write that in. I can see coming up, we've got a Subaru payment to make. This, I think that's coming up this week. Planet Fitness, I think, is maybe coming up this week as well. So we'll see. We'll update this again next week, but for week 2, the only bill we had to pay was Michigan Gas, and that's because we paid all of these other bills in week 1. So we're on track there. Now we are going to go ahead and fill in week 2 for our variable expenses. So the way that this hybrid budget worksheet works is I have a place here for spent and remaining. So with week 1, I take whatever I spent from our overall monthly total, which is here, but then moving into week 2, the remaining balance is where we're starting. So I will take anything we spent from that remaining balance, and that will give me what we have remaining moving into week 3. I've gotten some questions about that, like where do these numbers come from? That's how I do it. Now the categories that I have broken our variable expenses down into this month are food and household. I combined those 2 categories, and actually it's more than 2 categories. So this encompasses everything from our groceries to our eating out to any household expenses like toilet paper, paper towels, that sort of thing. All of that is lumped into this one category. So if you're seeing my spent numbers and you're thinking they look a little high, that's why. There's multiple things lumped in there, plus prices of everything are just sky high right now. Then we have gasoline, which is gas for our vehicles. We have our car, which is a Subaru Forester, but we also have a UTV at our campground. We have lawnmowers and trimmers and those sort of things that we put gas into as well. So any gas that we purchase comes out of our gasoline budget here. Then we have spending, which we do in cash. So at the beginning of the week, we'll pull out the allotted amount that we're going to spend during that week, which you'll see when I get to the spent category. And then we have miscellaneous. So just 4 different categories. And I've already done all the hard work and added up everything that we spent. So I just need to take these totals then and plug them in here. So for food and household for week 2, we spent $312.41. So if you want to see exactly what we spent that money on, you can look here at my expense tracker. You can also go back and watch that expense tracking video where I broke things down line by line, talked about where the money went, why we chose to spend it. It was quite a bit of spending this week. We did have some household expenses that are not typical and recurring, so that added to this total, but we're still on track. We're still under budget so far. We just need to be mindful moving into the rest of the month that we don't overspend. So the end of last week, we had $911.11 remaining in our food and household budget. This week we spent $312.41, so that leaves us with a total of $598.70 remaining. And I believe there's still 3 weeks left in the month technically. So if we divide that by 3, that gives us just under $200 a week to spend. I don't know if you guys can see that. So we're still in good shape. We just got to be mindful of that. I'm really hopeful that we can stick to our overall monthly budget, which for food and household was $1,200. Like I said, if that seems high, we are a family of 4. This does include all of our household expenses, any eating out that we do throughout the month, and we are notorious for way overspending and eating out. We're trying to reel that in, plus groceries, which you guys know are at an all-time high right now. So hopefully we can stick to that budget. We're just under halfway through the month, I would say. Today is the 14th, and we're just under half of our budget left. So we'll make it. I think it'll be okay. All right, next up for gasoline, we spent a total of $26 this week. We haven't filled up our car yet though, and my car is like dead empty, so we're probably going to put a small fortune into my vehicle this week. We started with a budget of $250 for gas. We didn't spend anything in week 1, so we still had that full $250 remaining, minus the $26 we spent this week. That leaves us with $224 remaining for the rest of the month, which should be enough. Fingers crossed that gas prices stop skyrocketing. Okay, for spending, we did take $100 in cash this week. You can see it here on my expense tracker. Whenever we pull the cash for our spending money, even if it's still sitting in my wallet, I consider it spent. It's taken out of my monthly budget, so I consider it spent. Even if it's still there, I'm not going to be putting it back into my budget. If I don't spend it, I'll roll it over into next month. So it's gone. I consider it spent, and that leaves us with $300 remaining. We have 3 more Tuesdays in the month, which is when we pay out our spending money. We do $100 each time, so we're right on track there. We never really go over our spending money budget. Our spending money is just there for anything that we want to buy personally, that's not included in one of these other categories. But because we have a pretty good idea of what we need to include in terms of categories for our budget between here and our sinking funds, the spending money is really just like joy money. We can do whatever we want with it, and we never really go over our spending money budget. If we do, it's on like a big ticket item that we didn't plan for, and then it would be an unbudgeted expense, but we don't really do that much these days. That was something we did a lot when we first started budgeting, but we're pretty good about sticking to our categories and not going too far over budget, except usually in like food and household. That's the area we typically go over budget if we're gonna go over budget. All right, and then lastly, we have miscellaneous. Last week, we took out our full $100 in cash for spending, so I've been doing miscellaneous in cash. I think next month I'm going to go back to miscellaneous just on our credit card because we've been using our credit card. So you can see here, like for the miscellaneous expenses that are in orange, $741 and $21.19. I put that on a card, so I need to take that out of the cash that's in my wallet and deposit it in the bank to cover these 2 transactions. But when it comes to the hybrid budget here, I already wrote in that we took that full $100 in miscellaneous money out, so we have nothing left in miscellaneous. I realize that might be confusing, so like I said, next month I'm not going to do it that way, but this says I spent 0 in miscellaneous, even though obviously I did spend money in miscellaneous, and that's because it's in cash and it's already accounted for here. So just know that I'm going to go into the cash I have in my wallet and withdraw this amount from the cash to deposit in the bank to cover those transactions. I wrote it in my expense tracker this way so that I could remind myself what I need to do with the cash, but when it comes to this tracker, I've already accounted for that cash here. So we're gonna just write 0. All right, does that make sense? If I confused you, my apologies. Let's go ahead and add up what we spent then. So $312.41 plus 26 plus 100, that's $438.41 this week. And that leaves remaining $598.70 plus 224 plus 300. That leaves $1,122.70. Really quickly, I'm just going to double check my math here. So we started the week with $1,561.11 remaining for our variable categories, minus the $438.41 that we spent, and that does indeed leave us with $1,122.70. So that means all my math is accurate. We're in good shape. So that's gonna do it then for my weekly check-in. It goes super quick with me doing all of the expense tracking ahead of time, And I do those in separate videos because I know not everybody wants to see me write in all my transactions. Some people just want to see how we're doing overall in the month, and vice versa. Some people don't care about this, they're just interested in seeing what we spend. So that way you can pick and choose which video you want to see, and if you like them both, you can watch them both. So I'm just going to get my printables put back into my planner then. The hybrid budget here. And I just use an arc punch to punch all of my printables and put them on these Happy Planner discs. It works out really great for me. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip to where I have my expense trackers, and we're going to get that put in. And next week we'll fill in week 3 and update my budget again, so I hope you will come back for that. Make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a video. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. So I hope you'll come back, check out my other content. I would appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.